Your Grace? I can tell you're awake. You can fool Anthony, but you can't fool me. There you are. Come on. No. It's all right. Okay? You don't have to get up. Just came to check up on you, okay? I heard you weren't sleeping. And we'll be back on our home territory soon enough, so I just wanted to make sure you're all right. That you weren't thinking of making a break for it or anything. So, are you all right? Don't have to lie, Minnow. It's early days yet, and I know you're still adjusting. And I know you don't fully trust me. That I haven't had enough opportunities to prove myself. And that's fine, I understand. Is what I'm trying to say. I am a schemer at heart, so I imagine that you think my concern isn't genuine, or it's only because you're simply an investment. A means to an end. Maybe you are. Maybe I... Christ, little Minnow. I don't know what you've done to me. I had convinced myself that you were gonna hate me. That all this would be a pain in the ass. That I'd get what I wanted, then I'd never have to see you again. I didn't anticipate actually starting to care about you. And I definitely didn't anticipate the crew liking you so much either. I see you laughing and playing cards with the others. You know, I see you helping out around the ship, trying to learn, even if you haven't done a day of physical labor in your life. Climbing up in the crow's nest with our lookout, sneaking into the pantry with Will. And I even catch glimpses of you when you're alone, too. Fleeting moments here and there when you aren't so sure of yourself. When the mask slips a little bit. You're brave, Minnow. You know that? Right? I know you think that I'll find I don't actually have any use for you, Minnow. I need you to trust me. Even if that were true, even if I never could find a use for you, I still made you a deal. I promised that if you married me, then I would protect you. And I had every intention of keeping that promise. Deals made on land mean nothing to me, you know. But a deal made on the open ocean? Now, I would be a fool to break it. And I found I like having you around. The crew definitely does. You brought light to us, Minnow. You've already done more for me than I could have asked for. I'd be a fool to let you go. And I don't want you to worry. I want you to know that there's a place for you here. And I know you're still getting to know us. But we are more your family than your blood ever was. We want you here, and we aren't keen to let you go. You don't have to say anything, Minnow. And don't you dare try to thank me for anything I've done, because I did it all for selfish reasons. I know that. I'm about to ask you a question, one that is also selfish in nature, but I'm gonna pretend that I'm doing it for your sake. Do you want to sleep in my bed tonight? It's far more comfortable than those cots here in the infirmary, and you wouldn't have to listen to Will snoring. You know, I don't mind. If I minded, I wouldn't have asked. I know I said I prefer being alone, but that was before. Just come into my room. You can leave whenever you like. Come on, I'll help you up. I was thinking we should send a letter to your parents. I haven't written it yet. I was gonna have the first mate help me write it, but he's not the most diplomatic. And Anthony is too angry to help. He thinks I forced your hand, and in a way I suppose I did. If anyone holds a grudge, it's him. Maybe you can put in a good word for me before he tries to poison my whiskey. will? Minnow, he couldn't even sing you the alphabet if you asked him to. I think it's best you help me. Anyway, if they see your handwriting, and if it sounds like you wrote it, it will be more convincing. We can get it over with now if you like. Alright, here's the parchment. Pen, ink. Come, you can sit at my desk. Address it to your parents and fiancé. So we're gonna start with telling them you're safe, and that you are under the protection of Captain Killua Zoldyck aboard the Albatross. That way, they'll know who I am, and what it means if they send anyone after us. Next, tell them you have called off the engagement, and are now married to the captain. Make sure to state that the first mate married us, and that the crew witnessed it. No doubt they'll question the legitimacy of our union. I'll have the first mate sign the letter confirming what you have written. And I'll sign it too, of course. Your parents' anniversary is in a month or so, correct? I hear it's always quite the party. Tell them that you'll be in attendance with me as your guest. I think that's all they need to know for now. Oh, and add that they need to call off their reward, or you will not be returning home. That should do, don't you think? No, I don't need to read it. I trust they'll do the job. Go ahead and sign. And I'll do the same. I said I don't need to, Minnow. I'm sure it's fine. It's not as if you're incriminating me or anything like that. I don't need to read it. I just told you what to write, so I know what's in the letter. Just sign it and give it to me. Okay, fine. I can't read, alright? It's not as if I ever needed to. Those books? Look, the crew doesn't know aside from the first mate. And you now. Most of them can't read, but I fear it would undermine my authority if they thought I couldn't. If I had no books, they'd catch on. I never learned, and when I became captain, I had my second to keep a log, and write anything that needed to be written. Now, if anything happens to him, I have you. Because I know nothing's gonna happen to you. Your parents will be upset that you married a privateer who's going to extort them, not because you married a man that can't read. They won't find out anyway, because you aren't going to breathe a word of this to anyone. Now, give me that letter so I can sign it. I'm tired and I want to call it a night. Alright, there. Do you still want to stay? Alright, go ahead, come on, get in. I still need to change. You don't need to be so shy, Your Grace. I wouldn't have brought you here if I had any qualms about changing in front of you. Anyway, I'm excited to get off the ship. Find a bed that's actually big enough for 2 people. I bet your bed back home is massive, isn't it? Come on. Scoot over. No, not too far. Come back. Come on. Alright. You'll just have to get comfortable with me, Minnow. Or go back to the infirmary. Actually, you better get comfortable with me anyhow. I don't want your parents thinking you're being held hostage when they see us together. You're not a hostage, Minnow. We can call it off, right here, right now. We can burn the marriage certificate and dump you at the next port, and your parents will be none the wiser. Is that what you want? That's what I thought. Look, we don't have to convince them that we're in love, just that we're serious. If they sense any hesitation in you, it will give them the push to try to tear us apart. And we can't have that. Just relax, Minnow. I know you're exhausted. You've barely slept since we found you. Settle in and stop worrying. Everything will be alright. I'll keep you safe, just like I promised. And don't you dare read into this. I just need you well rested and ready to face your parents. Huh? What? You have a question? What? Come on, what is it? I know, I can tell you have something to ask me. Huh? How does anyone get into this line of work? I mean, all you need is a problem with authority and a penchant for skirting maritime law. And a bit of ambition, I suppose. There are plenty of rumors about how I got here. That I'm a banished prince. A kraken parading around as a man. An assassin getting electrocuted and waterboarded and tortured right from the day he was born to the day he left. The true story isn't nearly as entertaining as all that. My father was in the Royal Navy when I was a boy. He used to tell me about his adventures on the high seas. And I find out too late that they were greatly romanticized. He went missing when I was 9. They don't declare those lost at sea as dead, you know? Not ever. He's just one of thousands of lost souls. My mother and I held a funeral for him after 2 years. She was arrested for theft shortly after, and I was sent off as a ward of the state. I wanted to be like him, like my father. So I left the orphanage to join the Navy when I was 15. I mean, they don't usually accept that young, but I lied. I said I was 17, and they let me in. That's where I met that friend I told you about. Gon. It's his ring that you wear around your neck. We were assigned to the same captain under the same ship. Gon saved my life more times than I can count, and I his. We saw all the things that my father had left out of his tales. Things not suitable for a child's ears. Things I dare not tell you. We began to doubt that we were on the right side of things, Gon and I. Our captain was particularly malicious, sacrificing many young men in the name of national security. And it went on for years. Our hatred compounded. And the other crew members that had served for as long as we had, they were angry. And we made a promise. We were promised glory, but we were only ashamed of what we had done. Mutiny, they called it. But what we did was justice. Gon and I killed the captain. He held him down while I slit his throat. I told Gon that he should be captain. He was more level-headed, usually, than I. Smarter, too. But he said since I had been the one to draw blood, it should be me. That it was my right. That those who didn't want to be part of the crew could be dropped off at the nearest port. Once we did that, we took the ship, and we left. This is his cabin, you know? My old captain's. That's where all the books came from. I was branded as a traitor. I'm still wanted for high treason back home, but they can't get me as long as I don't set foot in the country. They say I murdered the men that are on my crew now. The truth is, the only man I've ever murdered in cold blood was the captain. And he deserved it. I'm sorry. This probably isn't making it any easier for you to relax, but thanks for listening. No. I won't ever do anything to hurt you. Not ever. But I'm not a good man, Minnow. I pretend the sea has washed away my sins, but I'm afraid my soul is strained. I fully expected you to hate me, to fight me every step of the way, because I knew you could see that I am no saint. But I feel forgiven when I look at you. That maybe the sea gifted you to me because it decided I had suffered enough. I know that I said I had no love to give, but I see you. I think that maybe I do have some love. Not a lot. Not enough. But some love. I think I could love you. I love the sea, don't I? And that is where you came from, so couldn't I learn to love you as well? I might as well try. Yes, Minnow. Really. I'll try if you will too, but only if you promise to stay with me. I know that isn't part of the deal, but I can't risk falling in love with you if you mean to leave me. So promise me. Promise me you'll stay, and I'll promise to find a way to love you. You don't have to love me back. I could never ask that of you. I just need you to stay. I can't wait to see the look on your parents' faces when they see us. And your fiancé, of course. They won't be able to touch us. I bet we'll be the center of attention at their own party. You returning safe and sound after supposedly being kidnapped, which I suppose makes me your knight in shining armor. Everyone will want to know our story. Perhaps we tell a different one each time to keep them on their toes, keep people talking about us. If I know anything about you, you'll want to stay out of the limelight. But I can't deny I'll like the attention. And I like showing you off too. We should make a big show out of it, just to piss off your parents. And there's the matter of business as well. I need the notoriety. Also, I was thinking you should keep your own surname. In fact, I was thinking I should take yours instead to distance myself from my old reputation. I can't have people being so scared that they refuse to even say my name. Yeah, Captain Killua Zoldyck is a powerful man, but your Killua is going to be quite the gentleman. Look at that. Let me see your hand. I want to see the ring again. A couple of weeks ago, you never would have been able to picture this. Cuddled right up to a bloodthirsty pirate captain. I'm sure you imagine the wedding ring, but a very different partner. And you don't understand how happy it makes me that you want to be here with me. That you trust me. I know it's early days yet, but I have hope for us. Hope is a dangerous thing, you know. But what is a pirate's life if not one of danger? Yes. Sleep now. You'll need as much energy as possible in order to deal with your parents. At least you won't have to deal with them alone, huh? It's alright. You can go to sleep. I'll be right here when you wake up. Good night, little Mimo. Sleep well.